The Softears RSV. Let's talk about it. This is a loan set to me by a friend from Hi-Fi Guides. I want to appreciate that. They've sent me a few things in the past, like the Jupiter. It's really nice when people share their collection with me. I have another friend from HeadFi who's sending me a few items here pretty soon I'm really excited about. I really appreciate those people that can send me products that I can try and demo and put on my squig and really get to appreciate different types of IEMs. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the build quality of this beautiful IEM. A few things about this IEM. This is a 5BA IEM. It did release about 3 years ago in about 2021. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's what I found based off of reviews and when it was first available on Amazon. The shell of this IEM is not a bad shell, but it is a little bit large. It's slightly hard to keep ear tips on this. It is a recessed 2-pin, which means that sometimes that recessed area can cause damage or have some issues fitting certain cables. Again, it's not a bad shell. I find it comfortable, but I do want to talk about the size and comfort of this IEM and the possibility to cable swap, because that little dip right there can be a concern. It is a very wide shell. If you'll notice, it seems like almost twice the size as the Awful Magic 1. So for those that are sensitive to large IEMs, this is probably a no-go. Again, I have giant audiophile ears. Nothing bothers me. It's not a problem, but I did want to show this to you guys because even a big shelled IEM can be uncomfortable after a long period of time. It has a nice cable with it. It feels good in hand. It has a little red ear hook. It looks good. I mean, it doesn't really have anything too exciting about it. This particular one is a 3.5. So how's the sound of this IEM, and is it competitive almost 3 years later? Is it still a benchmark at its price point? I am going to go as far as to say no. I don't think this is a benchmark, although I find it an extremely enjoyable IEM. I think it is a great fitting IEM. It sounds good, but it has a few flaws. And I kind of want to try to get into these flaws. And it's hard to sometimes grasp at these flaws. But there is some issues where it feels like it has really good soundstage, but lacks texture, richness, and bass. I feel like an all BA setup does have some problems, and it does sound good, but not excellent at times. I feel like the extension on it is kind of average. I feel like the technicalities are good, but I think the class and amazingness of some of our modern day IEMs dwarfs this IEM, despite it being a very strong IEM in its day and an IEM I could consider endgame for many. All right, let's start by talking about the build and comfort of this IEM. First of all, this is a super nice IEM. It has a really nice kind of a neutral tune, and I think this style of IEM, this character of this IEM is something that's been kind of adopted by some other more recent IEMs, and I kind of wanted to take this IEM and kind of go through a tour and talk about some other IEMs. The first one I want to show is I do have the Twilight in ears, and it is in-house as well. We will be doing a review of it here in a few days. It is also a very exceptional IEM and has a lot of great qualities. The next thing I want to show this to is, I was trying to show something versus the brand, and this is the only brand that I've tried. I do think the Softears RSV and Twilight trade blows, and they're very close to each other, and I am actually really impressed with both of them, and I'm really happy that I got to try them both. They actually sent over together, as well as with the Ziggurat twins, so it's a pretty awesome package to be sent, and again, I appreciate you guys a lot to send me stuff. The next thing I want to show you is the Supernova. These two are about the same price. Supernova's, I think, 6BA. Softears is about 5. I mean, you notice that their base levels are about the same. Different upper mids for sure. Supernova is a little bit more of a U-shaped. And they both have good things going on for it. I think the Supernova overall has a more nice, natural tonality. And I kind of like the Supernova a little bit better for what it is. They both do different things and have different upper mids, which to me is one of the most important characteristics of an IEM. And it gives us so much about an IEM is to understand where the upper mids are. And that's a big thing to me. But these are both really good IEMs. And I think there's certain things about the Supernova that sounds better, but the RSV is also just a fantastic set. I think the sub bass of the Supernova is a little bit better. I think there's a little bit of roll off here. I think overall characteristics of the Supernova are really nice, and it just sounds amazing in ear. But they trade blows. But the Supernova is one of those ones that at its price point today, I think it really dwarfs the RSV. Now the RSV, you can get it for around $550, and I think I've seen it used once for $450. So there are a lot of deals for an IEM like this, but it kind of depends what you want. Another IEM that came out pretty recently is the Oravetti OH700VB. This is a fantastic set. Like, I really like this one. One of the cool things about this set is you can actually, it has like these little switches that you can switch back and forth on the Oravetti, and so it really gives you two different sonic profiles. It is a really nice fitting and beautiful looked IEM. I think its upper mids are a little bit, and it's debatable, about the same, but because it has increased bass, I think it has just a really nice, technical, beautiful sound, but it's close. These two really trade blows. This Softears RSV and the Oravetti 600VB really do trade blows. I do really like both of these IEMs, and if I just had to kind of graph sniff and tell you what I feel would probably be the better set, it would be the Oravetti 600VB, but it's close. Again, there's a lot of great things about the RSV, and I really like that set, and I was really impressed with it. But like in detail and resolution, when you just listen to podcasts and voices, it feels almost like you have a tube amp on things. It kind of has this fun, engaging, kind of crazy sound, and I just don't really love it. And I think that's kind of one thing to note. Let's look up. Next thing I want to look at. This is incredible to me. Look how close the RSV and the High Senior Mega 5 EST are to each other. They're almost exact same kind of graph. I mean, debatably the Mega 5 EST has a little bit more bass, but not by much. I mean, they both kind of trade blows. I think you can make a case for either one, kind of depending on what you want. I personally probably would say go with the High Senior Mega 5 EST because it's a little bit cheaper, depending, because it has been recently hyped. It does have EST drivers, which I think does sound a little bit more pristine in the upper air, but it has a lot of characteristics that are really, really similar. It's kind of one of those things, again, after a certain point, you should demo them. One thing I did want to kind of share with you guys is the Dunu Davinci. Like, the Dunu Davinci to me has a little bit better bass response than the RSV, like A-Bing them back and forth. I think the Dunu Davinci, it's crazy because now the Dunu Davinci is what, $300, and it has this really niche tune that people really like, the RSV style tuning, the Mega 5 EST tuning. Like, these are very, very similar in what they do, and so that's kind of, that's something to note. I think these are both really close and trade blows one with another. But I personally think the Dunu Davinci, it's also, I mean, it's almost half the price even if you're buying it now. Like, so to me, the fact that they do trade blows, it's tough. I think maybe the driver quality, and there's certain qualities and characteristics of the RSV that sound fantastic, but it's close. Another one to compare it to would be the Pilgrim. I mean, the Pilgrim has really, really nice sub bass. Like, it's one of my favorite things about the Pilgrim is just that how hard it slams. I mean, after that, it's kind of debatable on what you like. I personally like the Pilgrim better because of the bass. I feel there's added clarity and detail in the Pilgrim, which just really shows you that. I mean, the Pilgrim, I don't know, the more I listen to it, the more excited I get about it. Like, it's one of those things where I've been listening to it a lot because I'm getting a Noir here, I don't know, in a couple of weeks whenever they decide to send it. And so we'll have some A-B comparisons on channel, and like the Pilgrim has a lot of strong characteristics and a lot of things to look at. Another thing I wanted to show you is just the difference between these graphs, like the Supermix and EM10. Now, these are a fun V-shape, kind of Harman shape style tune, but you can really tell that these are two different approaches. And when you buy an IEM, you really got to know kind of what you're looking at. Are you looking at like a low, chill pentagain? Are you looking at something with some intense, bright pentagain? And that's something to go for. I find myself enjoying different signatures for different things, but oftentimes I find if I don't have enough bass, the tonality of the IEM does come across light, like vocals just sound dead and boring. And it's super lame, but it's just, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say I'm a bass head, but for me, the Supermix and EM10 have that like really strong, really lovely sub bass and mid bass. And so that's kind of one thing. And like the Supermix is only 150. And I honestly feel the Supermix trades blows with the RSV. Like I really enjoy listening to that set, and I have a fun time when I listen to music and engage myself. And it doesn't leave me it doesn't leave me hanging and thinking, man, this set needs this or needs that. It's just right. Although it is super dependent on pairing, and I kind of would almost recommend a dongle DAC for the Supermix versus that, whereas the RSV doesn't have any problems pairing it with basically anything you want, and it sounds fantastic, but it does lack in that upper air. It does lack in that sub bass, and that it almost feels like the lack of dynamic driver or just lack of sub bass, depending whether you want to call it graph theory or, driver theory. That one of those two things is kind of what you're looking at. Okay, so the Softears RSV, I like this IEM. I think this is a fantastic and fine IEM, but I just don't find it maybe an exceptional value. Like, I would want more dynamic bass. I would want just a little bit more sparkle and air in that upper air region. And I find it a good value. I find it a strong IEM. I find it having fantastic mids, fantastic highs, but it just lacks that, I don't know whether you want to call it technicality or what, but it just doesn't have that oomph, that extra bell ammo to really make it something that I would really want to buy. Like, to me, when I listen to it, I think, yeah, this would be a really good IEM for around 350 to 400, and I think that'd be a really good deal for it. But right now, 3 years after this IEM's come out, it's a real interesting to think of how technology has changed in the IEM space, and whether it's technology or drivers or tuning, it's interesting to me. But right now, at its current price, despite being a really good set, and like anyone who had the RSV and owned it, I would fully be like, oh wow, yeah, I can understand you having and loving that set. I can't really recommend it and give it even that 1-star rating like I would like even the High Senior Mega 5 EST, even though I think they really do trade blows in their own rights with each other. I could give that to that. Maybe if this was like four to 500, if you got it on sale or used, I would definitely recommend it. If you're looking at it, you would get my vote. But at full price, I don't think so. So my first Softears IEM that I've ever got the chance to really demo and listen to outside of the twilight which it came together, I have to say that I'm really impressed with this company. It's been an absolute delight and treasure to be able to experience this hobby and for all it's worth. My advice to all you guys, again, and I've said this multiple times, always try to demo products when you can first, or borrow them from a friend. Amazing IEM, fantastic IEM, but to me, it's just not competitive with the mid-fi IEMs that we have coming out right now. I do like it, and I do think it has almost perfect upper mids, but it's just not what I want it to be. It doesn't feel like it has crispy vocals. It feels like just kind of a fun, goofy set rather than a really, truly pristine set. And I guess that's my only really problem with it, is just that it's really good and not perfect. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?